Well, come on in. Glad to see y'all at the shop this morning. I tell you, I'm glad to see you anytime you stop by. And first thing I want to say this morning, I had a lot of great input on that last video I done. Y'all let me know that we're doing the right thing. And, you know, sometimes you don't know until you ask. So I appreciate everybody's input on the channel and what you enjoy, and we're going to continue doing what we're doing. So I appreciate each and every one of you for responding to that. Today it's Friday. We're going to keep it a little bit lighter and a little bit funnier, and I'm going to tell you about the first BFL first BFL that I ever fished. Now you got to remember, this was back years ago when FLW had it and BFLs just had started and first had come out, you know. And I decided I was going to fish on the BFLs with the FLW. And I sent my money in, everything like that, as a co-angler. Now, it wasn't as a boater, but it was a co-angler. And then we were just starting back then, so keep that in mind. And very first tournament I had, there wasn't but about 20, 25 boats in the thing because it was just getting started back then. So, you know, it was kind of a new thing. And anyway, I was a co-angler and I got paired up with a younger fella. And I put my stuff in the boat, you know, like they do and all. And we got to talking, and I could tell right off the bat that this was going to be an experience. Believe me, this was going to be an experience with this fella. So anyway, we took off. We took off down the lake and went down about 5 or 6 miles. And I mean, he was wide open with that boat. You know, and I don't have no problem with that. I like to have fun in the boat too. But anyway, he was wide open. We went off down in this creek. And this creek, it was like this, and I mean, I'm over here hanging on for dear life, you know. I'm not used to doing this. So anyway, we went down, went through these places and all, you know, and I mean, he's not even checking up on stuff. And we come up on this one bend, and we went around this bend. There's a big bluff over on the outside bluff on this thing, on this creek. And there was an older man sitting there in a little old V-hull boat, you know, in the front, not bothering a soul, just sitting there fishing right up next to this bluff. And I seen him, and this boy I was with, man, he didn't even slow down. I mean, like this, and there wasn't a whole lot of room in this creek. And this older man was over here next to this creek bluff. Well, he just went boom, right up beside him and just waked him. I mean, and the old man, I look back and he's like this. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what have I got into? And I got all day with this feller. We went on up about a half a mile, and I look back, and here comes that old man in that boat coming at us. And I told him, I said, buddy, we got problems, because here comes that feller. Well, he let in on the worst bunch of language you ever heard in my life about that stuff. And we got up and we stopped, and I was standing on the back deck. And he's up in front, of course. He's a boater. And here comes that old man up there in this boat. And I thought to myself, this is it. This is my first and my last BFL, because this old man is fixing to shoot. I mean, he's fixing to shoot us. So I put my back to him. I mean, I wasn't even looking at him. And I looked over at the boy and I said, hey, I said, here comes that old man that you swamped back there a while ago. And I want to tell you that this boy took his pants down and mooned this old man in that boat. Well, that old man, I thought I could hear him locking and loading right now. This is it. You know, two fishermen died, BFL. I can hear it right now. And this is my first one. So anyway, they have words and all that, and the old man, he leaves. And, you know, I told the boy, I said, you ought not done that to that feller. I mean, that was just not called for whatsoever. He wasn't bothering a soul, and you come in there and just ruined him and like to turn him over. Well, of course, he had something to say about that. And we fished there a little while, didn't catch nothing. Well, he fired up and took off back down. Now here we are going around all this creek again, all going out to the lake. And we went down about 5 miles, come up on this big flat, and stopped, and the wind was blowing. Oh my goodness, it was blowing so bad. And I had already got it in my mind, oh buddy, when we get back, you are fixing to get reported to the tournament director. I mean, there's no call for what you just done out here on this lake. And so I'd already made up my mind for that, and I was just fishing. You know, I by then I had made up my mind that this was it. He put that trolling motor down, and that trolling motor would not come on. Wouldn't do a thing. Here we are out in the middle of the lake doing circles out through the middle of the lake. He's trying to work on the trolling motor to get it going. And I told him, I said, you know what? That is what happens when you do people like that. That's exactly what you get for that. Well, the next thing he does, picks up the phone, calls his daddy, which that's another rule violation, and tells him about it. So he works on the boat. Well, long story short, we wound up going back to the ramp early, ruined a day of fishing just because of the way the boy was. And I didn't say anything to the tournament director, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I figured, you know, when you did that, karma showed up on that trolling motor and ruined your day. You couldn't fish. I couldn't fish. It didn't matter to me. I was done anyway. I was done with it anyway. So I just I didn't say anything, and I hope the boy learned his lesson. I never did see him no more after that one. That was my last co-angler, first and last co-angler tournament, because I figured, hey, I'm not getting in a boat with somebody like this again. So anyway, that's been a long time ago. I mean, you're talking back, like I said, when FLW had it. But anyway, just thought I'd tell you that story on my very first BFL and what happened. And I never did see the boy again, never heard of him, nothing. I don't know if he just decided that wasn't what he was wanting to do or whatever. But I've had a lot of good tournaments since then. But I thought I'd let y'all hear that story this morning about my first BFL. And we'll get started next week on some of these suggestions that I got. I got some good smallmouth stuff coming up, and some good Highland Reservoir stuff, and some tight lining, and just a lot of good stuff. So y'all come on back down to the shop, and we'll do it again. And hope you have a great weekend. I'm going to go to the fishing show, I guess, and spend a bunch of money I don't need to. But y'all come on back down to the shop. I appreciate your subscription, and hope to do it again very soon. Have a great weekend.